Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from the different parts of the world. Welcome to another insightful session hosted by Qualitative Research Connect, or QLRC. Today's webinar is entitled Preparing, Preparing an Abstract to a Conference Presentation. Christian Ikoto, PhD, is a university professor with 8+ years of experience in teaching, conducting, and advising, publishing, peer reviewing, and presenting research works in cross-cultural settings at the global level. He has taught qualitative courses at several universities in Asia, Africa, and Caribbean. He co-authored book chapters on qualitative research. He has mentored and advised qualitative research at the undergraduate and graduate levels since 2017. He has peer-reviewed dozens of qualitative publications and conducted several faculty training sessions on qualitative research. Let us all welcome Dr. Christian Eugene Ikoto.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Thank you, Dr. Darren, for that introduction, those kind words. We appreciate it. I welcome all to our 26th webinar. I can't believe we've gone so far already. And the topic is preparing an abstract for a conference presentation. A special welcome to uh, those of you joining us for the first time, especially those I invited recently from different places. I hope that this session will not only enlighten you, but also hook you to Qualitative Research Connect. We are a global family of qualitative enthusiasts and researchers who want to change the world in our little ways. And this presentation might be one of those ways. Over the years, I have read abstracts, I have written abstracts, I have reviewed abstracts, I have accepted abstracts, I have rejected abstracts, I am accepting abstracts right now, and I am rejecting abstracts. And this experience has taught me several things. And the question we want to be answering today in this webinar is simple. What constitutes a quality research abstract for a conference presentation? Why bother with the abstract when we have the meat that is the main study? Isn't the main study enough? Well, we're going to discover that the abstract is a key part of a researcher toolkit. Now, the session will go according to the plan. We have an introduction, we'll have a definition of a research abstract, talk about a purpose of a research abstract, look at the characteristics of a research abstract, some do's and don'ts in writing a research abstract, and then we'll have the conclusion. Let me start by asking you if you know about appetizers. What is an appetizer? You know, an appetizer is a small dish of food or drink taken before a meal or the main course of a meal to stimulate one's appetite. So, an appetizer is a foretaste, it's a preview, it's a teaser, it's a sneak peek, it's a glimpse, it's of the main thing, which is the main dish. But remember, this is to help stimulate one's appetite. An abstract is like an appetizer. It is the point of contact between your study and your readership. Now, what is an abstract or a research abstract? An abstract in research is a one paragraph summary that serves as a standalone snapshot of a complete study. And that section usually appears after the research title, and the credentials of the writer or the researcher. This is actually a hook. A conference research abstract acts like a hook to demonstrate how significant your study would be for the reviewers and the attendees of a conference. And that abstract must strictly stick to formatting guidelines. That's important. After the title, I understand the abstract to be the next most important hook. The first thing we usually see from a study is the title. If the title catches the attention of the reader, then they might be interested in the abstract, the appetizer of your study. Now, what's the purpose of a conference research abstract? And your research abstract usually serves two purposes. Number one, it serves to interest and intrigue the committee so they will select it. The people you're first writing to are the committee, the conference committee, those who evaluate, those who assess your abstract and see if it fits the conference theme and the conference goals. So that's very important. So as you write your abstract, you have to bear in mind that you are engaging in a conversation with the conference committee, which means you are engaging in a conversation with people who are supposed to be research experts, especially in the area that the conference focuses on. The second purpose of an abstract is to introduce or outline your topic for the conference handbook. So it needs to stand alone as a record of your presentation. So when you write and submit a research abstract, also have in mind that if the research abstract is accepted, it is going to be featured in the conference handbook, which is actually an official document. So think about it and represent yourself, represent your study very well by writing an appetizing appetizer. Now, a qualitative research abstract must be concise. Conciseness in writing means delivering maximum information using the fewest, most effective words without sacrificing meaning. You see, many times when I read certain abstracts, they are too wordy, or they miss the mark, or they miss some elements, some key elements of the study. So, conciseness is one of the key characteristics of a good research abstract. Another key characteristic is that an abstract must be comprehensive. And now you ask me, how can we be comprehensive in such a short paragraph? Well, comprehensiveness in writing ensures a subject is covered thoroughly and clearly, through logical organization, solid development. So this means is that there are certain elements that are expected in an abstract, certain sections of your study. So you need to include all those sections in the abstract and not miss any. We'll talk about that a little later in the presentation. A quality research abstract must also be correct. Correctness in writing ensures adherence to standards, rules of grammar, spelling, punctuation. Some people, when they submit their abstract, they're so in love with their ideas that they neglect the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation. So that is not a good way of presenting a research abstract. It actually diminishes the value and the taste of your appetizer when you submit it to a conference committee. So make sure that your spelling, your grammar, your punctuation, your syntax are really on point when you submit your abstract. A next characteristic of a good research abstract is that it is compelling. And this is where the hook part of the abstracts come in. Compelling writing, it grabs the attention of the reader and it keeps the reader engaged. It has to be clear. It even has to be emotional. You have to touch the emotions of the reader, but it has to be purposeful in content. You don't just want to touch the emotions, and the goal and the research side of it is not well represented. A good quality research abstract must be coherent. And this, I believe, from my experience, is one area many people struggle with, not only in abstract writing, but even in research writing, coherence. And I don't have the time to go into details from what I've observed here. Maybe another time we'll talk about that. The coherence is all encompassing, it touches every aspect of the writing. And coherence in writing is the logical, smooth connection of ideas that allows a text to make sense as a unified whole. So you want the reader to feel that he or she is reading something that flows naturally from the beginning to the end. So coherence is a very key ingredient of a quality research abstract. So a good research abstract must be concise, comprehensive, correct, compelling, and coherent. All these elements must be present in your research abstract. Now, a conference research abstract has a certain structure. Now, each conference may provide you with specific guidelines, but usually what you have in as a requirements or a structure for a research abstract for a conference, number one is the title. When you submit your abstract, you must write the title of the study first. It must be concise and attention grabbing. Your title must be appetizing as well. That is what may lead your reader to be interested in your abstract and further interested in your study. Some conferences give a certain number of words for the title. You have to check the guidelines of each conference to know how many words you need for a title. Some titles are a little too long sometimes, or too short. The next section in the abstract is the author's credentials. If it is one, two, three, four, or more, you have to write them and tell the reader who you are, of course, your name, correctly written, and the institution you're affiliated with, and any other information the conference requires as your credential. Next is the background. You need to share the background of the study. That is, you introduce what triggers, in what context your study has been started. Then you share the problem statement, and sometimes you can share it through as a question or as a statement, but it must be clear to the reader what the problem of your study is. And I find that many people struggle with problem statement, and I'm grateful that I had a mentor when I was writing my dissertation who taught me how to write a problem statement in a very simple way. So learn to write that down. The clearer the problem statement, the better your study might be. So you have to identify the research gap and then talk about the purpose of the study. Why are you conducting the study? What is the significance of your study? Then you talk about the methods or the methodology. You outline how the study was conducted. You talk about the research approach, the research design, and how you collected data, if you did, and how you analyzed that data. And you then add the key findings. And this is where some might struggle because they feel like they want to put everything in the abstract. If they have 10 findings, they want to put the 10 in here. If they can fit in the number of words that are required, that's fine. But just remember, it's an appetizer, and give the key findings to motivate, to stimulate the reader's appetite, especially here, the committee's appetite to want to not only hear your study, but also allow other people in the conference to hear your study. Your study is important, and we want the world to hear it. Then you talk about the implications or the conclusion, that some people call it the conclusion of the abstract. That's where you discuss what the findings mean and their contribution to the field. So you have this section, and then under the abstract, you have to share the key words of your study, and this is important. Some conferences do not expect that, but I encourage you to always write the keywords of your in your abstract. So and some other conferences require some references after the keywords. So a conference research abstract must have the research title, the study's title, the author's credentials, the background, the problem statement, the purpose statement, the methods, the key findings, the implications, and the key words. There are usually two main types of abstracts. You have the theoretical abstracts, and these deal with theoretical studies like literature reviews, for example. In these abstract, there is no data collection per se. So these abstracts are written differently than the empirical abstract. The empirical abstract talk uh, use data collection. That means you went to the field and you, in our case, qualitative studies, we conduct interviews, focus group, and we deal with the data and we come up with some findings from the data. That's an empirical study. And I mean, an empirical study must generate an empirical abstract. I'm saying this on purpose because sometimes people conduct an empirical study and they submit a theoretical abstract. So you see where the coherence comes in. Or they conduct a theoretical abstract. I have seen it, believe it, and they conduct a theoretical study and they submit an empirical abstract. I have seen it happening. So you don't want that to happen. The moment a committee, conference committee sees things like that, that's it's just like too much salt or lack of salt, or there's no coherence in your abstract. And right from there, your abstract can be rejected. Now, I want to share with you a few examples of qualitative research abstract structure. Okay. Now, the title usually, this is not a rule for every conference. Usually, it's 12 to 15 words. Okay. Some can go a little less or a little more, but the balance is between 12 and 15 words. So the title is measured in words. The background should be 2 or 3 sentences maximum. The problem statement, one, maximum 2 sentences. I really lean towards 1 sentence. The purpose, one, really, if you want to add a second sentence, that's okay, but one is okay. For the methodology, that's where you are a little bit more to more sentences. So 3 to 4 sentences explaining what's your methodology, because there's different sections underneath. And then the key findings, 4 to 6 sentences, and the implications, 2, maximum 3 sentences. And then you have the keywords. Oh, that's not the number there. It's about 10 or less for the keyword. That's a mistake there. So with this in mind, when you sit down to write your abstract, you have to have all this in mind. I used to tell my advisees when I advise my students in writing that sometimes what we do as a student is that we are conducting research while learning how to do research. So you come here and they ask you, you come to a conference, say, okay, you have to write an abstract. You don't know how to do it. So have this picture on your mind and ask yourself after writing, did I meet or miss the target in terms of number of words and number of sentences? Because what I put at the bottom there is actually the total number of words per abstract. when you compare all the requirements from different conferences and different journals, you will find out that usually they ask between 150 and 300 words per abstract. So you have to think about it, that all the sections, background, problem, purpose, methods, finding, implications, must fit the number of words that you have in your abstract. So a quality research conference abstract emerges from a completed study. The reason I'm saying this is that sometimes we are tempted, especially when we are experts, to write the abstract before conducting the study. But if we understand that the abstract is a reflection of the study, of course, we understand that we have to complete the study first before we write its abstract, because the abstract is not imposed on, but extracted from the study. Here is a model of an abstract that I found. And there, when you follow the arrows, you see the title right there, and you see the place where you can put the credentials of the authors, then the structure of the abstract with the context, the purpose, the methods, and the findings and the significance. There you have the keywords at the bottom. And for some, as I mentioned earlier, you will be required to submit references under the abstract. Okay. So I took some example, and I took the liberty to choose Dr. Safari's studies because I would not fear any copyright issues here. So here is an example of a theoretical qualitative research abstract. I am focusing on qualitative research here. You have the title, you see it clearly, and then you have the authors and the year, for example, and then you have the abstract. You see it's one paragraph. Now, in blue and in yellow, I have highlighted some of the sections. You see the background, it begins with the background, but in blue, you see like the problem statement. This topic is not commonly discussed in scholarly circles. That's the problem statement. And then you see the purpose. This paper is meant to bring this discussion to light. So, and then you have the next section. I specifically highlighted this section so you can contrast and see how the abstract is structured. And here is a theoretical abstract. So you won't see data collection, you won't see data analysis, you won't see a research approach, you won't see a research design per se. But of course, even in a theoretical paper, especially literature reviews, you have to tell the reader what kind of literature review you did in your paper. Now, this is another example, of course, from Dr. Safari again, a sample empirical qualitative research abstract. You have the title and the author and the year, and then the one paragraph abstract. And again, you see in blue the problem statement, and in yellow some of the findings. Okay, the findings that I wanted to highlight. Now you see the difference with the previous abstract. Now you see the findings. You will see the research approach, the research design, and then you have the keywords underneath. And those keywords are important when you publish your paper and you send it online, you share it online. So it is easier for people to find your paper and to read it. Now, I also want you to see another type of abstract, another way to structure the abstract. And some conferences require that you submit it this way instead of having it in one paragraph. So you have the title there, and then you have the name of the author, and then the abstract is in sections. You see the title there is present, purpose, and then a sentence or two, method, a sentence or two, results and conclusion, and the keywords. This is a way of presenting abstract also, you know, and you have to find out from the conference committee what is the format that they want to see the abstract in. So you don't submit this kind of abstract to a conference where they are expecting a paragraph abstract. Okay, You might have a good abstract. What this might cause you, if the conference is really impressed with your paper, they will send it back to you so that you write it back in a form of a paragraph. What I advise people is, if you intend to present a paper to any conferences, so you write your abstract in both ways. Number one, in a paragraph, and number two, with sections like this, so that you're ready to send it anywhere as you are required. Now, here are some do's and don'ts of a research abstract. Number one, ensure that your ideas are well thought out and follow a logical, coherent flow. Here you state the issue to be discussed. You give a brief background to the issue. You provide a brief description of what you're doing about it. Include the study's implications and outcomes. And you tell the reader what is it that you've done that is important. But I insist on logic and coherence, because many times we fail uh, to to show that. Sometimes some abstracts feel like a landmine. You go from A to Z and there is no flow. Number two, ensure that the abstract relates to the conference theme. That's another coherence there, another flow. Some people, they have an abstract and they don't try to find out first if their study is connected to the theme and how is it connected to the theme. So when you write your abstract, make sure that it is connected or related to the conference theme. Okay, that's another thing. Thirdly, you ensure that the practical aspects of the abstract comply with the conference requirements. Here we talk about the grammar, the spelling, the number of words, the guidelines, the standards of format, so structure. So make sure that you follow what the conference committee has submitted as guidelines for the abstract. Your time is precious. You don't want to go back and forth. Some people get frustrated because they feel that the abstract was fine and then the conference committee was not fair. But if you really follow the rules and the guidelines, there is no way your abstract would be rejected. Number four, limit the number of references cited in the abstract. When a conference requires you to cite references in the abstract, some do, limit them. It's not a literature review that you're doing in the abstract, but usually there is no specific reference required. Okay. And then look at past abstracts and conference papers. For example, you can look at the abstract that the conference already approved and compare with your abstract and see if the flow is the same. Next thing, you have someone proofread your abstract. And here I am encouraging you to find people who understand abstract writing and who can give you a constructive feedback in terms of grammar, and in terms of flow, in terms of logic, and in terms of research writing, academic writing. So have someone proofread your abstract and implement all necessary feedback. This is before you send it. And this is a very important thing. You know, sometimes we do the right thing and submit it at the wrong time. Submit your abstract on or before the due date and in the required way. So don't wait until the last minute to submit your abstract. You want to sleep smoothly. If the conference is in 5 months and they tell you that abstract submissions start 3 months before, submit it immediately. So in 1 week or 2 or 3 weeks, you get the response, and then you can sleep peacefully instead of waiting for the last minute and then having to deal with so many things. Sometimes some people, when they submit the abstract, that's when they realize that they don't have the membership, they haven't paid the fee, and then it can become very difficult situation for you. So be timely in submitting your abstract. In conclusion, the abstract of a paper is the only part of the paper that is published in conference proceedings. That is from Andrade 2011. And the reason I'm sharing this is that this is your brand. This is your image. or at least the brand of your paper, of your study. Do it well. That's your advertisement right there. That's your opportunity, your one shot opportunity to impress. And you usually do it in absentia. You are not there to convince the committee. It's just your abstract, its structure and the wording, the logic. Your abstract will have to stand alone and speak for itself before the committee. So write it well. Okay. The research abstract is your reader's window into your study and your gateway into the conference. So the appetizer to the main meal is your research abstract. So when the conference committee receives it, it's the appetizer, as I said at the beginning. So they are tasting and they want to see if your study is worth being part of, being included among the presentations at the conference. The main meal is your study, of course. And this is written for conference reviewers, conference presenters, conference participants, conference guests. What this means is that your abstract is targeting experts in research and in the field that you are writing in. So the abstract is not written for any ordinary common person. So you have to bear that in mind, that you're conversing, you're dealing with people who know what they're doing. So I am encouraging you, when you write your abstract, to, to remember the KISS. Keep it substantial, simple, short, and sweet. And when you give that kiss to the conference committee, it will be appetizing and they will want you to come and present your study at the conference. And for those of you who join us, I'm inviting you, if you've not done so, to submit your abstract. We have a conference coming in very quickly. It's be a hybrid conference, virtual and in person. On at the right top corner there, you have the website. You go there and you find every information about our conference, and that's the page. The screenshot there is the page of the conference. It's our second global qualitative research conference. You have a menu underneath that can help you navigate the website, and of course you have the key information. It will be in Cebu City in the Philippines, September 7 to 9, 2026. You don't want to miss that. Even if you have something else to do, go to the Philippines. It is more fun there. You will see people who are happy, who love research, and you will expand your network in your area. Thank you very much for your attention. And it's now time for us to get some questions. And I'll be happy to answer and allow others also who have answers to help me with the answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ikoto, for the tips and ideas on how to write an abstract for a conference presentation. So this time, may I request everyone to write your questions through chat with your name and where you are from so that we can acknowledge you. You may also write your institution you're affiliated with or the country. So while you're writing your questions, may I have Dr. Safari? He's going to talk about our Qualibay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Darren, and congratulations, Dr. Koto. That was very clearly presented. I think that if we have on this platform anyone who has never presented at a conference, you are much, much, much better prepared in preparing your abstract. I'm just going to take a few minutes while we're writing those questions there to introduce to you something that you have been receiving in your email. And that's what we call Qualibay, which is the online platform for QLRC For the courses, we launched this last month. It's been exactly a month since we launched Qualibay. And some of you have actually already taken some classes, and that is qualibay.qlrconnect.com. If you didn't know about this, this is now your time to check that out. You will remember from our website that our vision is to be a globally leading qualitative research community, and our mission is to empower people through transformative qualitative research. But the focus this morning is our motto. Our motto is forever growing as global qualitative researchers. And we, as the board, we started thinking about this. How do we make sure that people can continue learning, not just once a month when we meet, but you can learn throughout the month, you can learn throughout the year, you can learn from anywhere. And that was the beginning of Qualibay. And this focuses specifically on QLRC goal number 2, which is empowering people through qualitative research capability building. We want to be very intentional in empowering people through capability building. And this is the place where you can definitely learn without any limit. You can learn while you're riding that bus, while you are you're lying down waiting to sleep. You can actually learn. Qualibay is where qualitative researchers are empowered, equipped, and certified. So we are providing micro-credentials to qualify you. We have 3 different types of certificates. The first one is qualitative research knowledge, where you just take a class and you receive a certificate of completion. So it doesn't matter what you're interested in. Maybe you just want to take one class on qualitative data analysis, or you want to know how to design your qualitative study, or you want to know how to publish a qualitative research paper. That's the only thing you're interested in. If that's you, then you just take that one and that's it. You may be one person who said, you know what, I really want to become an expert in qualitative research. I want people to recognize me as an expert in qualitative research. We have created a program for you that has 7 levels. The first course, when you finish that, you are qualified as researcher 1. When you finish the second one, you become a researcher 2. But as you go higher, it's not just completing the course, but you have also some specific tasks or requirements that go with the course that you take. For example, quality researcher 7, I think you become a mentor or an advisor. To do that, you have to do other things. You have to publish in addition to taking the course that is for qualitative researcher 7. And with this, you are recognized. You can show to the world that, hey, this is my level of expertise as qualitative researcher. And then the last one is qualitative research specialization. Maybe you want to become a specialized a specialized advisor in qualitative research or methodologist, or you want to be recognized as an expert in case study or in phenomenology. So it's not just about completing that, but it's also including doing some other things in addition to being a researcher, a researcher to a certain level, like researcher 5, researcher 6, researcher 7, but also completing that design, training on that design, and publishing some research studies on that. Once all these things are put together, you have completed all these requirements, and then you receive a certificate of specialization in that specific design. The other thing is that we will have a global recognition at the conference, and that is, the official awarding ceremony that will be during the conference. During every conference, we'll always have that. Whether you're online or face-to-face, we will make sure that you are recognized when that time comes. Here are some of the classes, and this is my last slide. Here are some of the classes that are ready for you to take, but we have more than, I think we have about 30 classes that you can choose from. It's not like you have to take all the 30, but some of you may get excited. These courses are designed by experts from all over the world. names you're going to encounter are names whose books you've been citing, some of the books that you've been citing. And so you want these courses are not designed by AI. No, these are from real experts in the field. And so you have the first one is Qualitative Research Primer. That one has been going on for 1 month now, and you can take it anytime. You can register anytime. It's not like we have a specific schedule. We have a class on trustworthiness and ethics by Dr. Maria Lehman, who's with us here. She has published a lot with Sage on this topic. We launched this, I think we launched it last month. We have one that is that was launched last Sunday, I believe, mixed methods research. And that comes from somebody who has done a lot of research, mixed methods research. Another one that is launching by this weekend is applied qualitative data analysis. You should be receiving that information soon. Qualitative data collection is coming along very soon, and the conceptualizing a qualitative research study is coming up soon. Ethnography is also coming up very soon. Hopefully, by the end of this month, we have one on conducting qualitative research online. All these courses are coming up soon, and you want to take them. Why? Because they are by experts, and number two, they are some of those most affordable courses that you can find. Some of these, a lot of these courses that you see here, if you look for them somewhere else, you'll find them being sold for $300, $400, $500. But in the QLRC, we always believe in accessibility and affordability so that everybody can learn without cost prohibition. And so, although the courses are for $50 each, right now there's a promotional cost of $25. There is nowhere in the world you'll find this kind of price in for quality courses like this. Each course, the content itself is 2 to 3 hours, but to complete the course, because we have some quizzes and final reflection, you take 3 to 4 hours of quality, deep learning of qualitative research. So I invite you to Qualibay. Please go out there, take the classes that you want, and you have ever wanted to become an expert recognized globally by other peers. This is the time for you to take as many courses as possible. You find information there on the different certificates that are given. Back to you, Dr. Darren.
Thank you so much for that announcement. And let us move forward to the questions posted here from our participants. So the first is from Dr. Maria Laman. What do you find to be some of the top mistakes people would make when submitting to QLRC's conference? Dr.
Thank you.
Ikoto.
Thank you very much for that question, Dr. Maria. I'll mention two. The first one, I saw somebody submitting a quantitative abstract. And this is an example of not paying attention to the conference guidelines. You see qualitative research and you submit a quantitative abstract. It doesn't work. So pay attention to the guidelines and the standards. Another one is sometimes it's like missing one component in the abstract. And you see, I have seen abstracts where there is no purpose, no problem statement, or no findings, but well written, but it lacks one element. So incompleteness, that's one thing that you don't want to have. So pay attention to that. And sometimes also, we have been a little lenient with it. I think we want a paragraph in QLRC, and sometimes we receive that section abstract with the different titles. So pay attention to the guidelines. You won't make those mistakes. So these are the few that I have seen occurring so far.
Okay, thank you so much. Next question is from Tanya Afrin Tony. How to and where to write the research gap in the abstract, or is it needed or not?
Okay, so the research gap is tied to the problem statement. You may write it, but it all depends on the flow of your abstract. For example, you remember I mentioned that in when you state the problem, you can have one or two sentences. So you can start by stating the gap and stating the problem statement. Okay, but the problem statement is enough because you have all those elements in the study already. So remember the appetizer metaphor. Just give the gist, what is necessary for the conference to accept your abstract and your study.
Yeah, just like what you said, kiss. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. A comment from Dr. Safari. Excellent presentation, Dr. Ricoto. One comment, in empirical QLR abstracts, we must specify the QLR design. Okay, so the qualitative research design, such as case study, phenomenology, and the participants of the participants, of course, in the abstract. Dr. Maria said also, excellent talk. The appetizer metaphor is so powerful. I cannot agree anymore. Okay. Hello, I'm Dr. Digoli Itolomi from University of Kisangani, DRC. I'd like to ask to the speaker about abstracts data collection. Can we use a questionnaire in empirical abstracts for data collection?
Okay, can we use a questionnaire in empirical? Okay, so you can mention it if it's a quantitative research, or maybe if you use a mixed method, because by questionnaire, what I'm understanding is that you're talking about a survey, and a survey is not one of the way we collect data in qualitative research. Okay, we have different ways of collecting data in qualitative research, and the questionnaire is not one of them. So the answer would be no, but you can use it if the conference is quantitative. And if this is a good question, because if your uh, paper is quantitative and you see qualitative conference, it's a no-no already. It's a no-no for you. What you might want to do is to redo the study qualitatively if you have the time and the energy for that.
Oh yeah, that's why Quali Bay is really needed.
Yes,
So
very
yeah,
important.
yeah, very important. Okay, another question from Dr. Maria. What makes you feel that this is a great fit as soon as you see a submission?
Oh, when I receive an abstract, okay, there is we have a rubric that we use, and this is why one of the reasons I love QLRC, because we do a thorough work. We don't just reject when it comes to abstract, for example. In other areas, because I'm involved in so many things with QLRC, I see that we are very methodological. We don't just do things for the sake of doing. So there's a rubric, and how do I put it? Okay, it's just like when you grade as a professor, when you grade students' paper, they all take the same questions, they give their answers, and some will have A, some will have B minus, some will have, so the fit is not, it's not like everybody will have an A, but you fit in a certain range. So there are some abstracts that are really exceptional. I mean, you read it when you have an appetizer, you begin to, the moment you smell it, the first sentence already, it tells you this is a great work. Of course, there are some times when it starts well, but it ends very bad, But generally, you have that feel. Sometimes you also have that feel that, okay, this is an okay abstract, so we can pass it. And usually we give feedback to the person to upgrade it, to make it, to improve it. Okay, so it's there's a rubric that we follow, and there's also the feel from the experience that you have in reading those abstracts. So that's how it's both. So it's both. I can say it here without being scolded by Dr. Safari. There's a quantitative aspect in evaluating because we have a rubric, and there's a qualitative aspect in evaluating the abstract because you have the feel about the when you read the abstract.
Okay, so there is a private message to me, and she is Elisha Faye Cinco from University of Southeastern Philippines. And this is like a very they call this it's burning question from her. Yeah, she said that I sometimes struggle with the less is more rule when trying to fit my whole study into a 250 word limit. How do I decide which specific details are key components worth keeping and which ones are safe to cut without making my abstract feel too vague? She is an undergrad student.
Thank you, thank you. Let me say that it's a skill, and that we develop over time, and you are in a good place already by asking yourself that question, because some people don't even ask themselves that question. That's a good place to be. Now, when you're at that place, then you learn, you start writing, then you get the feedback from others. So, with practice, you will master the art of writing the abstract. And one of the simplest ways, and this is not only about abstract writing, even for dissertations, people when students present their work, even for conference presentations, sometimes they put too much in the PowerPoint, you know. So that struggle to really give the gist to, it's not easy to cook an appetizer. I think the ladies and the men who cook tell me that I think it's easier to cook the big meal than to cook, because the appetizers, they are small, you have to make sure that everything is, but you have to learn how to do that. It's a skill. So one of the simplest ways is you take your study, because you remember I said that the abstract emerges from the study, not the other way around. So you have your study, you look at the structure of the abstract, and you copy and paste some of the section. What is the problem statement? You copy and paste. What is the findings? You copy and paste. Then when you have that paragraph as a beginner, you polish it. You polish it. You send it to somebody to proofread it. And then when you feel that it's ready, you may send it. So do it mechanically like that until it becomes a habit. Even while you write your study, after you develop the skill, you will be writing the abstract while writing the study.
Now, this is my personal question.
Okay.
Can AI be of assistance in writing the abstract?
Okay. Since AI is fairly new, this is what I would say from my perspective. Number one, I am a little old school because I believe that humans should do their best first. So if AI should come in, AI should come in as a supplement to the work I have already done. The challenge with AI is that some people, they just give it to AI and AI does it for them, but it doesn't feel like it's your work, it's AI's work. So do your part first. Get the skill. For example, you may ask AI, like the previous question, to write. You may post your study and ask AI to write the abstract, but you may never understand and master the skill of writing abstract by allowing something else to write it for you. So I am old school in that area. I'd rather do it myself and then check maybe the spelling, the grammar, with some softwares that are available, and AI as well.
Thank you so much. Yes, if we have an answered question or a lot of questions that you cannot think today or now, and you will think it as you reflect later, you can post that or you can message us. We have our Facebook page where we can freely communicate to our administrators. okay, of QLRC. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. Ikoto, for freely sharing your expertise with us today. We also extend our heartfelt appreciation to 35, okay, minus the speaker 34 and minus Dr. Safari 33 participants to our webinar tonight, this morning or this afternoon. Your presence and engagement made this session a success. A recording, if you have missed, if you have come later, or you have friends that you want to share with this good news about writing an abstract, there is a recording of today's webinar, and it will be available on our website, www.qlrconnect.com, within the next 48 hours. And for your certificate of attendance, it is only given to active registered QLRC members. So the time frame to apply for a certificate of webinar attendance has been extended from 7 days to 14 days. When submitting a request by email to info@qlrconnect.com, participants must include their membership certificate number, which can be found at the top of the membership certificate. So participants, again, you are no longer required to submit a photo. However, you have to, or you must attend the webinar for at least 30 minutes for the certificate to be issued. So if you are not yet a member of this community, we warmly invite you to visit our website and complete the membership form. And don't miss our next webinar on April 2, 2026, the same time. Okay, so thank you once again, and greetings to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, joining us from different parts of the world.